Hi everybody, I'm back out in the workshop today and I'm going to be working on a hidden storage project. Hidden storage can come in a variety of shapes and sizes and purposes. So we've all seen in the movies where you have a painting that opens off the wall for a safe, or you have a bookcase where you move a book and it opens up to show a hidden room. But it can also be something as simple as a hidden drawer, either in a kick plate or on a piece of furniture, or now people are even doing the hidden drawers on staircases and they're using those for storage. Today we're going to do something on a much smaller scale. It's something that I am going to be using for a specific purpose to help me be a little more organized and to show off my grandchildren's art. So my project is starting off with some picture frames. Now, depending on the size of box you want, depends on the size of picture frame you might want to use. I'm using just a standard about 8 by 10, 10 by 12 picture frame, and this is going to be the front of my box. Now it's time for me to search around the house and the workshop to see if I have the pieces to make the box that's going to go on the back. So let's go see what I can find. Well, I did a search around the workshop, in our garage, in our other outbuildings, and I was able to find all the pieces that I need for this project. Now, if you saw the video where I did the can rotator, you may recognize this as the same kind of scrap wood that I used for part of that project. But I found enough pieces that I'm going to be able to use those for my top, bottom, and sides of the box. I found some scrap paneling that'll be the back of the box. I found some hinges, nice and small, that are going to be perfect to use to hinge the box open and closed. And then I found some magnetic closure latches that we'll be able to use. And I have plenty of screws and glue left over from other projects that'll let me complete this. So now I need to get all my measurements written down so I know what lengths I need to cut these and the size so that I can get onto that part of this project. So let's get going. Now I have all my pieces marked for my sides of the box, so we're going to get these cut so we can move on to cutting the back. So what I'm doing is dry fitting this together to make sure my sizes are all correct. I ended up with the side pieces are, in this case, 11.5 inches, and the cross pieces, as they're sitting inside the side pieces, are 8 inches long each. So my next step is going to be pre-drill and nail these together, along with a little bit of glue. And then we'll be ready to measure out for the back of the box. So now I'm going to use this punch and my hammer to countersink the heads on these nails. Because this is scrap wood and I have other holes I have to fill anyway, I'll be able to fill these at the same time to give us a much better finish when we're ready to paint it. So just a couple taps. Gets those set down in so I can't feel them above the surface. So I'm going to do that on all 8 of these nails so that we can move on to the next step. Now that I have what is going to be the frame for our box complete, I've got it onto my piece of paneling that I'm using for the back of the box. I made sure that this was square already, and I'm just going to trace this out now right along the outer edges to mark where I want to cut. Then I'm going to use a jigsaw to get this piece cut out, and then we'll be able to get this put on to our frame to have our box a little more complete. So now that I have the back piece all cut, I am going to pre-drill for the nails that I'm going to be using to hold this on. Now this is just paneling. I'm just going to use some simple paneling nails to hold this on because I'm not worried about this holding up all the weight. So let me get those drilled, get this back on, and then we'll see how it looks. All right, So the box that's going to be the back is now completed. And this is the same kind of idea that you would use if you wanted to make a tray and you could carve out the ends. You're just making a very simple box. So our next step is going to be, before we put any hinges on this or anything else, I want to go through, make sure everything is sanded. I'm going to fill in these holes as well, anywhere that I'm concerned with that. And then once I have that done, I'll be back for our next step. So now that all the holes that were on the corners of the boxes or inside the box, because this was used wood that we just were scrapping, now that they've all been filled and sanded, we're ready to move on to the next step. So for us, the next step is going to be deciding exactly where my little itty bitty hinges are going to go and where the latch is going to go. So because these are a barrel hinge, they kind of sit up a bit on the frame, and I don't want this to be separated any further apart than necessary. So once I decide exactly where these are going to sit, I'm going to mark them out. Then I'm going to take a chisel. I'm going to chisel that out to get the hinges as flush as I can. And I'll be doing the same for our catch. Now for the catch, I was thinking about using this cabinet catch, and it's a magnetic catch, but it's just too big and bulky for this project. So I had to kind of think outside the box, and Steve's awesome at thinking outside the box and finding parts for me to use when I have a project. So he came up with some options for me. Now this is a badge magnet. So for anybody who's ever worn a name tag badge or anything like that, that's what this is. It's kind of big for this project. Not sure if I want to use this either, but we also have these teeny tiny little magnets. Let's see if I can separate them out. They're very strong. These come from Christmas cards, birthday cards, the kind that play music, and they have the magnets inside the card that hold the card closed so that when you open it, the annoying music starts to play, for anybody who hates those cards as much as I do. And these are a much more manageable size and plenty strong to keep the frame shut on this box. So I'll be picking probably a set of these. I'll do the same thing. I'll mark where the catch is going to go and chisel that out and get this set at the same time. So now it's time to move on to measure and mark for our hinges. So I figured out I want these about 2 inches in from the edge. So I'm just going to measure and mark 2 inches in on both ends, and that lets me know where I want to line my hinges up so that I can get those chiseled out. So now that I have that done, I'm going to go lay these back down, mark how far up I need to go for my hinge. May not be able to see that, sorry about that. Try to do this one this way. So now I'll do lines all the way across. I'll box out where this hinge is going to actually sit, because it's going to be sitting in a little bit, and I'll get that chiseled out, and once that's done, I'll be back. Well, chiseling is all done. Chiseled the box for the hinges and for the magnet, and also chiseled the frame for the magnet and for the barrel portion of the hinge, and put it together as far as the hinges go to make sure that when it's closed, it closes fine here without a big gap. So for me, that was an important part to test, make sure everything was lined up properly and that it fit together well before I think about going on to the next step. Now, a box like this, depending what you're going to be using it for, if you wanted to recess this into a wall, like how these 2x4s are here, if I wanted it to sit flush so it was really, really a hidden storage box, all I would have to do is use a different type of hinge for this, and I would use something more like a cabinet hinge that allows it to open when it's against something flat, like your cabinet doors do. But in this case, I'm ready to move on to my next step. I'm going to paint the outside and the inside of the box. If I was recessing it into a wall, I wouldn't worry about painting what was going to be hidden in the wall. But mine is ready to go and ready to get painted. So depending what you're also planning to use this for, now this box, if you wanted to make this a key storage box, you could also add a piece of wood in here where you can screw in some cup hooks to hang your keys. Depending on if you're using it for secure hidden storage, you might want something different as your magnet. So depending what you're going to use it for, this idea can be modified into a lot of different styles to fit what it is that you're trying to store or hide, however the case may be. So now what I'm going to do is take this, I'm going to take it apart, I'm going to take this frame back off so that I can get it all painted, and once I have it all painted, I'll be back to show you how it looks. So it may look like I'm painting this a hot pink color, but I'm actually using a color called Ripe Currant, and this is what we currently have on our kitchen and living room walls. And this is going to dry a deep currant color. And it's an extra can of paint that I had, so I didn't have to go out and buy anything. And when I hang this on one of those walls, it'll help it blend in more. So I'm gonna get this all finished and painted up. It'll take a little while because I have to do the inside and the face. And then once I'm done with that and that's dried, then I'll turn it over and do the outside and the back. So it's gonna take me a little bit, but let's get this all done. Well, the box is all painted and put back together. We've got the picture frame back on the hinges attached to the box. And I also used the card magnets that I had talked about before. We got those recessed, one in the frame and one in the front of the box. Now, because this is going to be sitting up, and I'm going to be storing pictures, papers, and stuff like that in it, I also added a little strap. Now this strap is just Velcroed in, so I can put things in. I've got extra length on the strap. I actually used a buckle from an old duffel bag that we had saved. This strap is just a piece from around a flannel blanket or fleece blanket that we had gotten one year for Christmas. Now we save a lot of these bits, pieces, and parts, especially off backpacks, duffel bags, the strapping, any kind of hooks or any kind of buckles, because we use those a lot in our products and they do come in handy. So you can see here that that is keeping the papers in. So now when I close it to display my grandchildren's art, and if I have to open it to change the art out, I can open it. I can take this out from the back and change out the art piece, put it back in, put the extra art piece, slide it behind here, and it's ready to go for the next beautiful piece that they make for us. Now that this is all set and done, let's get this hung up on the wall and see how it looks. Well, the box is up on the wall and I think it looks pretty good. So easy to open, and I put this up on the wall in a way that it opens easy, so I'm not trying to open against the wall, but the strap keeps the papers in. I can slide things out, I can slide papers in, whatever I need to do here. I can easily get to the back of the frame to change out what picture is on the front. When it's closed, it fits in nicely with the other pictures on the wall, and I think is going to be a great addition to our organization and storage for this coming year. And I can see I'll be making a couple more of these because I have other grandchildren who might want one of their own up on the wall. So this box, now keep in mind, you can put your regular photos in here. This box, instead of hanging it on the wall, you could put it on a coffee table. There's a lot of potential options. You can use it for storing other things. Like I said before, if you wanted to customize the inside to store keys or anything else that you have, or maybe customize the inside for other security items you might want to be able to store accessible but hidden. You can recess it into the wall, you can change out how you lock it up. There's all kinds of options. So remember, however you decide you want to use this, that this is your base, build on it from there. And if you want to see other security type storage, hidden storage, whether it's in furniture or other things, please make sure you leave us a comment below. And until next time, everybody, take care.